The firm that runs beautifully at 10 people falls apart at 30, and the one that works at 30 breaks all over again at 80. This isn't because the work dried up, it's because you never rebuilt the structure for the next size. Today, we are talking about why growth fails and exactly what to do about it. I'm Shaw Rotella, Senior Operations Specialist here at Legal Staff Now. We've helped hundreds of law firms build the teams behind their growth. We're an Inc. 5000 fastest growing company, and our work has been featured in Bloomberg Law. My whole world is helping growing firms build the infrastructure that grows law firms, whether they're growing their team to 20, 50, or 100. Here's the thing, growth doesn't break randomly. It breaks at predictable sizes. And there's real research backing this up. Harvard Business Review, in their classic work on organizational growth, found that companies pass through distinct phases, and each one ends with a management crisis that forces you to rebuild. Their exact words: each phase begins with a period of evolution, steady growth, and stability, and ends with a revolutionary period of organizational turmoil and change. That's what's happening when your firm gets chaotic around these breakpoints. For law firms, these crises tend to hit around 15 to 20 people, and then again around 50, and then again around 100. Not exactly, but that's the neighborhood where everything suddenly feels like it stops working. And here's what's tricky: the structure, management style, and the way you run things that got you to this size, it simply doesn't scale to the next one. The glue comes apart, quality slips, everything starts routing back through you. Let's talk about the first one. You've been the glue, the person who touches every case, knows the quality standard, and makes sure nothing falls through. That works when you're at 10, maybe 15. But at 20, you literally cannot personally oversee every file. You don't have the hours. And if you try, you burn out and nothing else will get your attention. The fix is your first layer of team leads or managers between you and the frontline staff. These are people who own a piece of the operation: intake, case management, client communication, and they make decisions within their lane. The person who does intake, case management, billing, and client follow-up, they're good, but they're improvising. No one can be an expert of all of it, and the firm is missing the depth it needs. Get to 100 and culture stops holding together the same way. The founder cannot know everyone. Systems need to work without you in the room. So the pattern is clear. Every time you hit a breakpoint, the operating model that got you there stops working. You need a new structure, a new layer of management, different kinds of people in different roles. The firms that make it do something different. They build the organizational chart for the next size before the growth demands it. They staff toward the structure they'll need, not the one that they have. So at 15, when you're still functioning, you're already hiring and training your first layer of team leads. At 45, when things still feel manageable, you're building the specialized roles. That way, when growth hits, structure is ready. And here's the lever. Virtual staff lets you add capacity to the right seats without the overhead. You build the org chart you need at the next size, and you can afford to staff it with vetted people before the crisis forces your hand. It's not about hiring cheaper. It's about hiring right, getting the dedicated intake person, the case manager, the operations manager, the people you'll need into position before growth demands it, not scrambling to find them after. One model in their January 2026 report on organizational management found that span of control and management layers need to change as headcount grows to preserve communication and quality. In their words, span of control plays a key role in defining how streamlined and agile a company can be. When the structure is right, the right person in intake, the right case manager, the right operations leader, you're not bottlenecked. Growth doesn't feel like chaos. It feels like adding capacity. So here's the bottom line. The firms that scale don't wait for the crisis. They add the layer before it breaks. They build the hiring infrastructure for the next size while they still have space to think and choose well. And that's exactly the hiring infrastructure we help firms like yours build: the process, the people, the structure for the next growth phase before you hit the wall. Growth breaks at predictable sizes because the owner never rebuilt the structure ahead of time. When you build the org chart for the next size and staff it before you break, you scale without crisis. That's how great firms grow. If you're at 15, 45, or 80 people and you want to build the hiring infrastructure for the next size before the chaos hits, let's talk. Book a call with us. We'll show you exactly what that looks like for your firm.